Hello and welcome to another episode of Snakes Territory. I'm Jesse Friedman alongside Jack Sommers. And Jack, the Diamondbacks are at least keeping things somewhat interesting as they find a way to beat the San Francisco Giants in the finale of that 3-game series. They still lose the series, dropping 2 out of 3. But that finale felt like sort of a must-win game for them, and they were able to do it. Eduardo Rodriguez, Jack, was very, very good in this game, and the D-backs played some slick defense behind him as well.
It was great to see them salvage the series. It was tough to see them lose the series that they really had to win. They're kind of stringing this along. They're 3.5 games out, but their E number is down to 13 against the Mets. And if the Mets keep losing, who knows? I mean, they may end up really regretting not being able to win the series against the Giants because they got to chase them down now too. That E number being at 13 again means any combination of Mets victories and Diamondbacks losses that totals 13 means the Diamondbacks cannot pass them.
Yeah, and at this point, we are down to 15 games remaining in the season as the Diamondbacks are at 73 and 74. So you mentioned, Jack, the fact that the Mets are not playing very well right now. They have sort of kept this door open in a way that I didn't necessarily expect. I mean, the Mets just got swept, I believe, by the Philadelphia Phillies. They've lost 5 consecutive games. And so, as you said earlier, I mean, although the Diamondbacks did not at all take care of business in losing this series, it's not, they're not dead yet. I mean, the Met, I mean, if the Mets just keep losing games, then who knows what could happen here.
Yeah, the thing that kind of stuck the wrong way with me was I saw a lot out there. Well, the D-backs didn't lose any ground to the Mets when they lost those first 2 games, but they did
Yeah.
because they lost 2 games and there's only 15 games left. I still don't see how this team gets on a 12-3, 13-2 run to really give themselves a super solid chance. The pitching is too inconsistent. Whether it's the starting rotation was doing great until it wasn't. The bullpen continues to be an issue, as it always has been, always will be, at least this year's iteration of it. So it's very hard for me to envision this pitching staff allowing the team to go on a 13-2 or 12-3 run, which is still what it's going to take to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I actually, so the Mets still have one more game against the Phillies, so I need to correct that. There's one more game on Thursday, and the Mets are facing Christopher Sanchez in that game. So, if you're trying to talk yourself into this thing, the Mets have another tough game right in front of them. And then after that, Jack, they play the Texas Rangers over the weekend, who are certainly a competitive team, and they get Jacob deGrom in the first game of that series. So still some difficult games ahead for the Mets, but we'll circle back to the standing stuff here in a moment. As far as the Diamondbacks go, Eduardo Rodriguez, Jack, 3 consecutive starts now that have been really good. Very easily the best 3-game stretch of his career. 6 1/3 innings in this Wednesday game. 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. And I think he kind of passed the eye test too. A lot of pretty good amount of soft contact that he was generating, some swing and miss as well. I think his changeup looked about as good as we've seen it in this game. And obviously that's big for the Diamondbacks, not only for this season, but going into the next couple of years with this contract.
Yeah, just to clarify, best 3-game stretch of his career as a Diamondback career.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure
Um,
Erod's been around for a while. This is 18 1/3 innings of 1-run ball, which is, I'd imagine, up there, but he's been around long enough. He's probably done something better than that before.
Most likely. But look, we've given him a hard time all year long because of his inconsistencies and had a hard time buying into any good stretches that he had. And each time we were kind of proven right by him then faltering afterwards. But this looks a little different. He actually looks good doing it. It doesn't look lucky. It doesn't look like something that's not sustainable. I love the approach, fastball, changeup, heavy mix here. The soft contact, as you mentioned, was really pretty good. He only gave up 3 balls that would be considered hard hit balls, and only one of them was a hit. So kudos to Erod. He went all the way into the 7th inning. A couple of long at bats kind of got him there. He came pretty close to finishing 7. So it was super impressive.
And obviously, he did get some help from the defense as well, Jack. Blaze Alexander just continues to be a highlight reel in and of himself, no matter where he's playing, whether it's at second base, third base, center field, left field. We've seen him make incredible plays at somehow all 4 of those positions here just in the past week. And in this game, there were multiple of them. I mean, I think it was back-to-back plays at one point where Blaze was just unbelievable over there at third. And Tim Tawa, by the way, who is now on this team after Tyler Locklear went on the IL, sounds like he's going to be out for the season. Tim Tawa getting some reps at first base. He looked pretty darn good over there as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see all the athleticism on display on both corners. Blaze made a diving stop and then later had a number that he had to come in and barehand and make the throw across his body on the run. He had another diving catch later in the game on a softer line drive, but it was still low to the ground, and he just went over there and made the play. Had a couple of other, fairly routine but sharply hit hoppers that went right at him, kind of, but he had a tough hop there to deal with, and it just came up and made it look smooth as silk. So that was fantastic. And then Tawa made a couple of really good stretches and scoops for Blaze while he was making these phenomenal plays. He did need some help on the other end catching the ball. Tawa also had a diving stop on a 3-1 put out to his right. And there was even a pop-up down the line where he ran and had to catch the ball over his head. And he, for a second there, like if you were looking at a lesser athletic player, it might have looked awkward, but he just closed the gap on it and made the play look easy. And it was not an easy play. It's kind of one of those where you might have taken it for granted. Oh, it's a pop-up. But that was a tough play. So I'm very impressed by Tawa's defense at first base today.
And of course, the Diamondbacks bullpen did make things a little bit interesting in the later innings of this game. Rafael Devers very nearly hit a 3-run home run in the 8th inning. It wound up being a double that missed being a home run by maybe a foot or two. That cut what was then a 5-0 lead down to 5-2. And then Andrew Saalfrank gave up a run as well in the bottom of the 9th, but the D-backs escape with a 5-3 win, Jack. The bullpen, once again, just sort of doing just enough in order to close the deal for the D-backs.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have a very good series. After Nabil Crismatt got bounced out in the 4th inning. Brendan Garcia, a little bit of tough luck. He pitched a scoreless inning in his outing and then came back the next inning. And, of course, you had the error and a walk, the error by Perdomo, a walk, and then a bunt base hit. And then he was relieved, and DeSclafani immediately goes, double sac fly homer. So that was pretty bad outing for the bullpen there. And then today again, I mean, they came really close to blowing this game. So it's just too many runs given up by the bullpen this series.
Well, the Diamondbacks escape with a win in the finale of this series, but again, as a whole, the series really was not a success for them. It was a huge opportunity to gain some ground on the Giants, and instead the Diamondbacks wind up losing a game overall in the series. We're going to talk about the other 2 games of the series and some larger takeaways. We'll do that right after this break.
Time for your weekly Arena Club segment where we see what AJ pulls from a slab pack. And here we go. Pulling a little Emerald pack this week, AJ. Looking for something big.
Always. I'm always looking for the big thing. Next big thing, Scott.
Big money, baby.
Yep. No whammies.
We've got a Dave Winfield card from 1974, a 74 Topps card from this Emerald pack. Estimated value $300. Mm-hmm. You could sell it back for $270.
Sold.
I feel like you're into more of the current players. Would that be accurate?
No, I mean,
you like legends?
In my showroom, I have a Robin Yount. I have a Griffey rookie card,
I
think.
That's true.
So, I mean, I have some older vintager players. Bob Gibson.
Oh, yeah, you have Gibson.
So, I disagree, Scott. But Dave Winfield, for that amount of money back, I'm reselling it.
And if you want to get your own pack or new card, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul.
Well, Jack, we alluded to it earlier, starting pitching in this series while Erod was great on Wednesday. Not so great on Monday and Tuesday as Nabil Crismatt. 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs in the game on Monday. The people are blaming you for this, Jack, after the article you wrote, and I have to acknowledge that maybe there's something to that argument. And then Zac Gallen, not as great as we've seen him recently in that Tuesday game either.
Well, first of all, I conducted the interviews, but actually Alex wrote the article.
Oh, that's fair. Okay, so Alex takes the blame there. Okay, got it.
I think we have to share it. Now, look, that happens all the time because what happens is guys play well. They play really well. We want to talk to them. Why are you playing well? What's going on? And then, of course, regression to the mean, and then boom, here we come around. And then, of course, he was going to get hit eventually. So it doesn't lessen in any way the good story that he's, brought to the club this year and how valuable he was filling in there for those first 4 games. Hopefully he bounces back. And I still find it fascinating how he's trying to do it. And I hope he has success with this approach. It would just be a wonderful story if he can continue to do it with, placement, location, changing speeds. It would be so refreshing to see a guy a la Kyle Hendricks be successful that way again. It wasn't that long ago that Kyle Hendricks was one of the best pitchers in the league for like a 4 or 5 year run.
He also, side note, has actually been pretty decent this year. I was looking at his numbers the other day. He has like a mid-4s ERA and 28 starts or something. I didn't necessarily see Kyle. Yeah, playable. Like he's still a useful pitcher at the very least. But yes, you're absolutely right. Nabil Crismatt, even though his Monday start wasn't great, the larger story there is still really, really cool. Zac Gallen, Jack, on Tuesday, 6 2/3 innings, 5 runs. He was able to pitch deep into that game, but he got bit early. He walked the first 2 batters of the game, and then he gave up a 3-run home run to Willy Adames. D-backs trailed pretty big early in that game, and while Gallen certainly takes a lot of the blame there, maybe Doug Eddings, the home plate umpire in that game, Jack, he didn't exactly do him any favors. There was a call on Heliot Ramos, the leadoff hitter for the Giants. Very clearly should have been strike 3 to lead off the game, and instead Ramos winds up walking. Gallen was, of course, very clearly frustrated by that call, understandably so, and it feels like that had a pretty big impact on him, especially in that first inning with the way it played out.
Yeah, and look, there's a history there. I mean, the frustration also goes to Doug Eddings as a kind of guy that you can't even look sideways at. He pulls off his mask and he's ready for a confrontation and he's ready to toss you, and everybody knows it. So everybody's trying to be careful. And then there you go, the first batter of the game, the ball's more than 2 balls inside the strike zone, and he calls that a ball. So that clearly took Zac out of his game there momentarily. And when I wrote my game story, I said, usually a critical call by the umpire doesn't quite impact the outcome of the game so early in the game. But in this case, I think it really did. That 3-0 hold, just nothing ever felt right after that. The pitch to Adames wasn't that bad. I mean, it was a sinker down. It was in the bottom very quadrant of the strike zone and kind of on the edge of that inner part. It wasn't a middle pitch by any means. So, it was a good swing by Adames. He's a good home run hitter, always has been. So you got to hat tip a little bit there. It was kind of a little bad luck, I think.
Looking at the umpire scorecard for that game, it confirms what you're saying there, Jack. It was not a particularly well called game with an overall accuracy of 95%, which I guess isn't. Maybe it felt even worse than that. But you can see the overall favor here is grading out as plus 1.23 for the San Francisco Giants, which is a pretty big swing for a game that was decided by just 2 runs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that accurately reflects in this case. It doesn't always. Sometimes that doesn't really accurately reflect. I mean, his overall ball and strike calling, if you go by the number of pitches he missed, was actually slightly above average, as was his consistency score. So was well above average. So from that standpoint, you can't really fault that. But unfortunately, his 2 worst calls went against the Diamondbacks, and they weighed heavily in the game.
I thought it was funny on that walk by Ramos to lead things off, just how quickly Ramos, just like tossed the bat to the side. Like he 100% knew that there was no way that should have been ball four. But he was very happy to accept it. It's just funny when you see those antics from the hitter. But yeah, Zac Gallen was able, to his credit, he was able to bounce back enough to pitch deep into that game. Got some quick outs late, pitched into the 7th inning. But yeah, it was not able to continue the recent run of success that he has had. Offensively, Jack, Tim Tawa, we talked about him earlier. He played a couple of games in this series and looked really good. 4 for 7 altogether offensively with a double. And then he played some really nice defense as well, as we were discussing earlier. Jake McCarthy also had a nice series, 3 for 7 with a double and a triple. I wrote 1 RBI on here, but I think he had 4 RBI if I'm not mistaken. So a big series for Jake for sure.
Yeah, and that triple and would have been a home run like in 24 other ballparks. But ironically, not only was it not a home run in San Francisco, it would not have been a home run in Chase Field either. I think it was 24 out of 30 parks, it would have been a homer. And then the double also hit at the base of the wall right at the 399 mark. So those were not, balls that dribbled through the gap and took 4 hops. They hit the wall. So that was great to see from Jake actually driving the ball like that. If you look at his overall numbers, look at his game log since he's been recalled till now, more than respectable. Actually pretty good. So his season line is never going to look right. It's never going to this is not enough time for him to make the season line look good. But, the bottom line is he can only do what he can do with the time he has left this season. And he's done well since he's come back.
I've had some people ask me, Jack, if Jake McCarthy could be a non-tender candidate, just given the fact that he has certainly not had a good season and he is entering arbitration. It feels to me like he's a pretty easy tender. I just think that given what he offers you on the base paths and the fact that he can play all 3 outfield positions reasonably well, and his offensive track record this season aside, he still has a career OPS plus of 96, I think, last I checked. So he's basically been a league average hitter. Obviously this year has been really rough for him compared to where he was a season ago. But to me, I have a really hard time imagining the Diamondbacks just not wanting to pay Jake McCarthy $2 million, $3 million, whatever it is, in that first year of arbitration.
Yeah, on the flip side of all that, it's hard for me to imagine that both Jake McCarthy and Alec Thomas are going to be on this team next year. The team has a decision to make there, and I think they'll end up moving one of them. I don't know what the trade value is, whether they're the centerpieces of a trade or if they're throw-ins on a trade. But there's a bit of a redundancy there. So I think that it's unlikely that both of them are going to be on the roster next year. But I don't think the arbitration amount really factors into that at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Ketel Marte got hurt in this game on Wednesday. We should also mention that. It sounds like he's going to be okay, though, Jack. He fouled a ball off his right foot in the early innings of this game, stayed in for the time being, but then was removed in the 7th inning with what was ultimately called a right foot contusion. Sounds like he's going to be okay, but never great if when Ketel Marte exits during a game.
These stadium x-rays, you got to be careful with them. There's a lot of small bones in the foot. The x-ray might have been negative. If it's not feeling better in 24 hours, they may have to go send them for more imaging. So it really just depends on how he feels 24 hours from now. You certainly hope that they didn't, the in-stadium x-ray didn't miss something. I mean, keep in mind, Tim Tawa, when he got hit by a pitch, they said he got hit in the back, but it actually got his rib, like the back of his rib. And that was diagnosed as a contusion, and initial x-rays were negative. And then later he had further imaging. Turned out he had a fractured rib, and he missed, quite a bit of time. We've seen this before with these types of things, and there's just a lot of small bones in the feet. So let's wait and see on that. I'm somewhat optimistic, but I want to see what happens in the next 48 hours.
We also wanted to talk about Adrian Del Castillo, certainly a player that I think a lot of people were interested in seeing now that he's getting a little bit more opportunity. And It hasn't looked great for him, Jack. I mean, especially the Wednesday game, right? The finale of this series. Adrian Del Castillo went 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. And in his past 3 games, I guess the 3 games in San Francisco, he struck out 8 times and went 0 for 10. So that's that's a little bit alarming when you see a guy striking out that much over a 3-game stretch. So I'm curious what you're seeing from ADC right now.
Well, I kind of want to go back in time a little bit here. If you look at last year, I mean, it's really strange. Few players had as big a gap in their actual results versus expected results than
Yeah.
Adrian Del Castillo. Now, it wasn't a very big sample size, right? He had, 80 something plate appearances, 52 batted balls, and he had a 384 WOBA. I mean, he had a 300 plus batting average. He had 4 home runs. He had some really big key hits, including the walk-off at home against Philadelphia and all of that. His ex-WOBA was 293.
Yeah.
It was over 90 points, 91 points lower than his WOBA. And what's the ex-WOBA? Ex-WOBA is walks plus strikeouts, the actual walks and strikeouts, plus the quality of contact. And so that was a little bit of a red flag. But considering the fact that he had such good contact numbers and batted ball metrics in Reno in his breakout year in Reno in 24, and the results that he got in 24, it just seemed a little bit churlish to keep harping on that. And so I mentioned it a couple times, but I didn't delve into it too much. But you look at it now, coming into today, he had a 280 WOBA and a 237 ex-WOBA.
Yeah.
I mean, as bad as the numbers have been, I mean, his numbers have not been good at all. He's got, what looked like a reasonable batting average, but there's no slug behind it. He's struck out now 41 times and walked 4. 41-4 strikeout to walk ratio. That is just completely untenable. It's just the bottom line. And, there's been a lot of complaints about why are they so into the platooning of Jordan Lawler now that he's starting to hit a little bit. Why are you, pinch hitting Del Castillo for Lawler and all of that? And I'm not going to argue look, platoon splits are real. They always have been. They always will be. But Adrian Del Castillo is not helping the team. And there's some real genuine concerns with this level of swing and miss. It wasn't just one game.
Yeah, it's also been interesting that when he has made contact, I mean, his hard hit rate is pretty high. Coming into today, it was at 47.5%, which is well above average. So you feel good, like, all right, at least when he's making contact, he's hitting the ball hard. But then you look at the fact that his barrel rate is 3.3%. I mean, maybe it's silly to look at barrel rate with a sample size that's this small. But it's just it's just kind of a weird, like, batted ball profile, Jack, if we're sort of nerding out here for a second. His ground ball rate is really low, which to me it feels like it's high. Like, it feels like he's hitting a lot of pulled ground balls. But the numbers don't say that. I mean, his ground ball rate entering today was 27.9%. His line drive rate is above average. His fly ball rate is well above average. And they're not all pop-ups. His pop-up rate is actually below the league average. So, I'd have to look into these numbers more, but it feels like he's hitting a lot of fly balls to the pull side, but he's just not hitting them hard enough. He's just flying out a whole bunch. And granted, I mean, the biggest problem, as you alluded to earlier, is strikeouts. I mean, that's clearly the swing and miss is the biggest issue here. But it's been odd to me looking at these numbers that he's not doing all that much damage when he makes contact either.
Yeah, I mean, back to the swing and miss. Let's be clear. It's 41 strikeouts and 108 plate appearances.
Yeah, that's alarming.
That's a high K rate.
Yeah,
41 divided by 108. Sorry, guys, hate to do this to you on screen. 38%.
Yeah.
That's just untenable. And, this is, there were signs of this last year too. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what to do here. I think that they got to keep trying with him. I'm not saying give up on him or anything like that, but there's some real concerns here. I mean, he's not 21 or 22. So that much swing and miss at a player at this point in his career, it may be a tough fix.
And let's face it, with Adrian Del Castillo, the bat is going to carry his game. Like, he's not, maybe he can find a way to play first base or give you some defensive value somewhere. But the way that his path to being a major leaguer, being a member of this team for a long time, is with his bat. And if he can't be an above average hitter, especially against righties, if he could just do it against righties, that would be big. But if he can't do that, it's going to be hard for him to stick around. So still a pretty small sample size. I mean, he's under 200 plate appearances for his career, or like right at 200 plate appearances. So we don't want to make any big judgments at this point, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward. We talked about the standings earlier, Jack, but just to circle back there, here's where we sit. Here's where things sit. Here as we finish off this Wednesday heading into Thursday. The D-backs are 3.5 games out of that third wild card spot, which is the lowest that number has gotten in a very, very long time. But at the same time, you still have the Reds up ahead of you, 1 game ahead at 2.5 behind that third wild card spot. And then the Giants are now 1.5 games ahead of the D-backs. They are 2 games out of that third wild card spot. So as we said on the front end, Jack, things could be a lot worse here. The D-backs are still theoretically in this, but they're running out of daylight here to make their move.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in time, I've been saying it over and over again, you're going to have to get on a 6 or 7 or 8 game win streak to really have a shot, and they just haven't been able to do that. So now it's really now or never. It literally is now or never. If you can't go in, you have to sweep the Twins.
Yeah.
Right? Run your win streak to 4 and then go beat up on the Giants the first 2 games back at Chase Field. Like, you have to win the next 6 games. If you don't, you really don't have a shot. I'm just going to call it like it is.
I mean, maybe they could go 5-1 and they'd still be in there somehow. But yeah, I mean, these games are they're not must win, but they're pretty dang close to must win at this point. The Diamondbacks certainly have an opportunity this weekend in Minnesota against a subpar Minnesota Twins team. We're going to talk about that series, the pitching matchups, everything that you need to know, and we'll do that on the other side of this break.
We spend a lot of time on the road. We are often concerned about our online security when you're logging in from all over the globe, really. So you should maybe look into a VPN. What does that stand for, Kratz?
Virtual private network.
Boom, nailed it. And that virtual private network that you should look into is called Surfshark. It is time to take control of your online security and try Surfshark today. You can enjoy their 30-day money-back guarantee and secure your digital world right now by visiting the link that we'll post there for you and start surfing securely. Surfshark.com/foul or the code foul at checkout will get you 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN, aka Virtual Private Network. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Surfshark's unique VPN benefits include use on unlimited devices in 100 countries and 24/7 support at surfshark.com/FOUL. This has been your tech update. Keep your data safe.
Well, the Diamondbacks don't necessarily have it easy this weekend in terms of the pitching matchups, Jack. They're getting Pablo Lopez in the first game of this series. It's Brandon Pfaadt against Pablo Lopez on Friday, then Ryan Nelson and Joe Ryan, who's had a very good season, on Saturday, and then it's Nabil Crismat against Bailey Ober in the finale on Sunday. That's a bit of an easier matchup on the D-back side of things. Ober has an ERA over 5 this season. But you mentioned it earlier, Jack. I mean, these games are as close to must win as you can get. The Twins are 64-82. This is really the only subpar team that the D-backs play the rest of the way, and they really need to take advantage of that.
They need to go 13-2 or 12-3 the rest of the way to have a shot to be in the playoffs, right? So if you can only lose 2 or 3 more games out of your next 15, if you can't sweep this series, you have no shot.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you lose 1 game here, then this is your opportunity to make a move, especially with the Mets playing another fairly challenging series against the Texas Rangers. This is really games the Diamondbacks have to win. Joe Ryan, Jack, he has had a really good season, but his ERA has crept up here over the last few weeks. He gave up 5 earned runs in just 2 innings of work his last time out against Kansas City. So even though he is one of the best pitchers in baseball, maybe the D-backs are catching him at a good time. And then Pablo Lopez has really good numbers this year, but he's only made 12 starts. He missed, I think it was about 2 months with a right teres major injury. Certainly not an easy thing to come back from. Pretty significant shoulder injury, and he was pretty good in his first start back off the IL. This will be his second start back, so it'll be interesting to see what the D-backs are looking at with Lopez.
Yeah, well, Font and Nelson have pitched really well recently. So, on the other hand, if they can just keep doing what they're doing, that will offset that. And you would think or hope that the Diamondbacks offense would be the sway factor here.
Yeah. Brandon Pfaadt, though, Jack, it's Brandon Pfaadt on the road. So, the splits tell a certain story about Brandon Pfaadt this season. Do we really believe that story is legitimate and anything but a fluke? I don't know. It probably is a fluke, as we were discussing the other day. But it has been a while. I mean, the last time that Brandon Pfaadt had a quality start on the road, you have to go back to July 9th at San Diego, 8 innings, 2 runs. He was really good that day. But, I mean, since then, pretty much every single road start for him has sort of been a disaster. I guess he had the game at Colorado where he gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. That was certainly an outing you could stomach, but it has been very weird for him what's happened on the road this year.
He's due, Jesse. He's due.
Regression to the mean works both ways, right? It doesn't always mean bad things. So we'll see if Brandon Pfaadt is able to build on his last outing. Of course, Ryan Nelson has continued to cruise along. Feels like the D-backs are getting a quality start from him pretty much every time out. And then Nabil Crismatt, even though his most recent outing here against San Francisco wasn't great, he's still been really solid for the D-backs overall. So a big opportunity here for the D-backs to try to make a move. Somehow they're still in this thing, and it'll be interesting to see how these final few weeks play out here, Jack.
Well, stay tuned.
Yes, this team finds a way to, as we've said before many times, the moment you think the Diamondbacks are really out of it, they find a way to make you interested again. And that's sort of where we've been here for the past few weeks. But that is everything that we have for this episode of Snakes Territory. We really appreciate all of you being with us. If you haven't already, be sure to drop a comment here on this video. Like the video as well. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. All of those are great ways to support the show. Also, if you're joining us on an audio-only platform, it would really mean a lot to us if you'd leave us a rating and review. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of those places. That really helps us out a lot. You can find all of us on social media, and by all of us, I just mean the two of us. I am at Jesse and Friedman on Twitter. Jack is at ShoeWizard59, and our show is at Snakes Territory. Jack, of course, does a great job covering the Diamondbacks. You can find his writing over at si.com/MLB/Diamondbacks. And oh, by the way, I know we mentioned this from the top of our last show, but if you want a really cool hat that has our fancy logo on it, those hats are available now over at snakesterritoryshop.com. Jax is on the way right now, and I'm wearing mine as we speak. So we're starting a hat movement around here. So if you want to be part of that, it's a great way to support us here at Snakes Territory as well. Well, thank you all again for being with us. We really appreciate your time, and we'll be back with another episode of Snakes Territory very, very soon.